Hey guys, welcome to Absolutely PlayStation Steam Gamers. I'm Shank, this is Coda, and for Tower Talk number 6, we decided we would take a look at this week's TWAB, which went pretty deep into a discussion about crossplay. And then if we have time at the end, just kind of do a little bit of a recap about Season of the Splicer and perhaps predictions on what next season's going to entail. Maybe not. All depends on how long crossplay takes up. We'll see when we get there. But Coda, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Missed a week.
We did miss a week. Last week's 12 was a little light, and
Yeah.
we put out 2 right next to each other, so we figured we'd give a little bit of space to breathe and come back when we actually had some stuff to talk about, and boy, do we have a bit to talk about now. So, crossplay has been something the community has been asking for a while now.
Since D1. Since the original Destiny.
I would say since before it was legitimately a possibility of being a thing, because in 2014, 2015,
Right.
Sony and Microsoft, Sony and Xbox were not talking to each other about crossplay. I feel like in the last couple of years that's changed.
Right. And it's been mostly because a lot of community push towards that with things like Fortnite being like the...
Well, I mean, honestly, let's give credit where
Right.
it's due.
Mhm.
Fortnite probably is what pushed this into mainstream
Yeah.
popularity, so I'll give credit to that game. But how about we get into it? You want to run us through the TWAB real quick?
Yep.
And
So,
just start.
crossplay's coming in Season 15. It'll be allowing Guardians on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Stadia to all play together. No Switch support yet. Come on. It's like a cross save also. So your Guardian on Xbox is the same Guardian you'll play on PlayStation, is the same Guardian you'll play on PC. And how they're doing this is they're linking your account instead of to the system you're on to a Bungie name, which is a player name and then a hashtag and then number, like kind of like how Discord and other services have done this. So how that's also going to work is also now they're adding in a search function for you to be able to search out people and their own private friends list separate from those systems also.
Right. So from what I'm getting from this, it seems like everybody is going to be assigned a new Bungie name. From what I was reading in the TWAB, it seems like they'll be taking the characters you currently have on your active Bungie Net profile, and they'll be converting that over to your new Bungie name, is what they're calling it.
Right.
Now, the Bungie name will be what has the hashtag and the numbers after it. That's not going to be what shows up in-game.
No.
That's just going to be, that hashtag plus the numbers is going to be a way for you to contact the friends that I'm going to assume are no longer going to be on your roster screen anymore.
Right. It's also to help you be unique. You'll be, like, you're Shank 14, but if there's an Xbox player that's Shank 14. Well, you're Shank 14, number 1414, and they're Shank 14, number 1313. So, you're different people.
who's the true Shank 14 now? That's exactly what it's for.
Yeah.
So that you can remain unique with the character that you've been playing up until this point and don't feel like you have to change your name. But it will still be able to work across all of these different systems. 'Cause I'd be curious to see how many millions of accounts they probably have, and they're going to have to merge all into one player pool. But
also, it should be noted, you said change your name. Changing your name is not going to be in their day one, so make sure your name is something you like right now.
Yeah, that is actually a really solid point. There's 3 weeks left until the season resets, and I believe they said it's not going to be right at the start of season 15, is it?
No, they said, they asked the question of when will it be out? We're working hard and we'll let you know, is their answer. But
which
it is coming early season 15.
I'm concerned. I'm
Mm-hmm.
concerned. I'm not going to lie. I think they shouldn't have come out with season
No,
15 if they weren't 100% certain of a release date.
this all of a sudden them going like early season 15 or as soon as we can in season 15. It's like this is them thinking they were going to launch it day one and them not being able to follow through with that because of some glitch or
Right.
something. Uh,
Well, let's talk a little bit about what they did then.
uh-huh.
About 2 months ago, they did a test of this in the
Mm-hmm.
Vanguard Strikes playlist.
Test went very well from my side of things. You got an emblem for running it 3 times. I had no errors during my 3 runs.
I also didn't have any issues with it. Um, I was looking through here. They did mention, was it the needing the new bungee tags as the biggest issue they found when they were playing through this? I know they stated it somewhere in the TWAB. Um,
I
but
could see that because if you try joining up with somebody with the exact same name, I can see where that might cause problems for their displays and whatnot.
right, and that was the number one issue that they noted was that um, they were going to have to revamp that, and that they were going to have to revamp how the roster screen looks for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which honestly, I'm going through the actual TWAB right now, not our little Spark Notes version, and looking at it, doesn't look like it'll be that much different. Um,
No. Uh, your roster and everything will still be there, but now you have an in-game way to invite people because before, if you wanted to invite somebody that wasn't your friend on Steam, for instance, let's say you're playing on PC, you had to have them go in and type /ID and it would spawn a number for their instance, and then they would give you that number, and you would type /join and then that number, and then you could join them.
right, it was essentially what our Bungie ID was, but it
Yeah,
was more of a Steam ID. But it was not anything you could memorize. I think this is going
no.
to make the LFG process
Mm.
much better. Actually, considering that we're probably going to be able to get most of the PlayStation and Xbox players onto Discord as a voice function, because voice will not be available at the start of
No, it
or at the
says
launch.
soon after launch for that, which basically means next season, is my guess.
Right. All I hear when I see, all I am thinking when I read that is don't know when it's going to be coming out, so just don't expect it anytime soon.
Because that
And
has
even
to
if
be a
they
whole
do,
nightmare between the different like voice command structures of Xbox, PlayStation, and your PC, and I guess Stadia maybe has something like that too. I don't know.
right. But back to my point before I get too far away from it, the LFG Discord is probably going to be seeing a lot of new members.
Mm,
Like it's really gonna improve, I think, the LFG process for the
right.
entire game. You might see Grandmaster and Raid numbers start ticking up now that there's an easy LFG way for all three
Mm-hmm.
or four, including Stadia systems, to kind of start working together. I think merging the player pool is going to end up being a good thing.
Right. We should see increases in population size across the board, and like that means your queue times going into matches. You should see an uptick in or a downtick. They'll be shorter queue times. um,
Uh,
yeah.
well, what I was going to say is, why don't we take a look at what the player pools are going to be looking like? We saw some interesting stuff about Gambit and about Crucible,
Mm-hmm.
and about how they're going to be coordinating which player pool you are put into.
Right.
Because for PvE stuff, they said that is always going to be open to everybody all the
Mm-hmm.
time. You load into Strikes, Battlegrounds, seasonal event. You could be playing with a bunch of PlayStation or Xbox users. You could be playing all PC. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever you end up getting. So those load times
Right.
are going to be super fast.
Yeah.
But there are going to be different load times or different player pools for anything that involves
Right.
other players.
There will be 2-player pools for Gambit, Crucible, Iron Banner. I mean, all that competitive stuff. PC and console, which Stadia is grouped into the consoles. Um, but if any console player joins with a PC player, they are in the PC pool.
Right.
So I'm still expecting for there to be an uptick in the population for PC Crucible because, yeah, you're going to play with your buddies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What I did notice is that I believe it starts with you opting out of being in the merged player pool
Mm-hmm.
if you're on console. And you can actually opt into being in the PC player pool. You don't have to necessarily be with somebody,
Right.
but if you are, it automatically shuffles you over into that playlist. So if you are a console only player, worried about the rampant cheating going on in PC, know that as long as you don't invite any of your PC friends to play with you, you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Although, interestingly, I feel like it's not entirely necessary because you have a big advantage whenever you're on mouse and keyboard as far as being able to like move around and stuff. But the aimbot assist that you get on PC on a controller is actually like 5 times stronger than a console. So if they put you with the like settings of a PC player and you're used to a controller, I think you'll be performing better on on the PC version than you do your regular console version because you're just getting even better aim assist.
Yes, but would those cheats still work if you were playing on PlayStation? That's what I'm saying. If you're a PlayStation user, those are the people I'm talking to directly.
Right, no.
Or Xbox. If you're a console player, you're not going to be using those cheats unless they're cheats specific for PlayStation.
I'm not talking about cheats. When I'm talking about I'm talking about aim assist, not aim bots. I'm talking about the in-game
Oh, you're
settings.
talking about the in-game.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about
the
aim
game
bots.
actually helps you aim a little bit because we can't all be,
Right. Okay, I understand what
Yeah.
you're talking about now. That was on me. I misunderstood. Aimbot, not aim assist, not aimbots.
Right.
Yeah. That is going to be much better for anybody who's coming in from the console side.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to pretend like PvP doesn't have
No.
issues with cheating that I think will be alleviated by this because it's going to increase the
Right.
player pool. So you're going to be less likely to run into them.
Mhm.
But I don't want to mischaracterize what the experience is going to be like for anybody who is a console player who's going to be coming to play with their PC friends. It's going to be frustrating.
Another interesting thing about the modern gaming sphere is that while Destiny doesn't support it on the consoles themselves support keyboard and mouse plugin. So you can actually be on the same playing field as a PC. The main difference is, of course, the refresh rate of like the frame rate and the fact that there are cheaters on PC. But they don't support that out the gate. I'm wondering if they do, if they'll be able to like more make it just one population.
Okay, so you did see that they're not going to be supporting mouse and keyboard.
They do
on
not support
consoles.
mouse and keyboard as it stands right now, and they won't be at launch, except for eventually they'll be adding in for text chat.
Right, that's what they were saying. It'll make basically using the text chat function usable across all consoles,
And
all
that
platforms.
that is coming in winter TM.
Oh, okay, you know what? They said it would be out by this season. Hopefully, it'll be out by this season. I'll give them the winter. Does that mean? Does that mean December? Does that mean like
January,
early March?
February.
Because technically March is winter. So, I don't know. I was mentioning in our Discord, which we need to plug our Discord down below, so that anybody who's watching who's in the clan Crow's Perch can go ahead and head on over to our Discord where we do most of our talking.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned in the Discord when I saw this TWAB that I like that it's coming out because it's a feature that I think really is going to help the game. I just wish it would have been complete when it was coming out.
Mm-hmm. Instead of them
like
piecemealing it out.
Right. Instead of them piecemealing it out. The voice chat thing, which granted, I don't think Bungie's voice chat is
No. I mean,
the best
everyone's going to be on
but-
Discord anyways.
Well, we say that, but the issue is right now Discord isn't
Right. On consoles.
synchronized with consoles.
So you'd have to use your
you run
phone.
into the issue of needing to use your phone, wearing 2 headsets, 2 mics, which for some people that isn't a frustration, but for more casual players, maybe that's just more than they want to
Mm-hmm.
put into sitting down to be able to just shoot aliens with their buddies.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think the community will figure out a way to work around this as they always do,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually Bungie, sometime a couple years down the road, will finish polishing this system off. And I don't know. I think overall it's going to be a good change,
Mm-hmm.
positive change. One thing I think was in last week's TWAB that we should mention really quick. Was this in last TWAB, or did we talk about this 2 weeks ago, that Eververse is getting a change? Or not Eververse,
It was in last week's
Transmog.
swap. It was in last week's
The
swap.
Transmog?
Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't talked about that
No,
yet.
we haven't.
So they're
Shocker.
already starting to cave. They're already starting to cave on what the transmog system is like. Granted, it is not the change that we need, which is the limit on how many you can earn, how many different individual pieces you can basically unlock for your transmogging. What they are changing is the entire time-gated step of needing to earn enough of whatever the lowest resource was.
Right.
Something. They're
They're
getting rid of that.
they're changing
and what
the
you can
fact
do
that they
now-
got called out on making it to where you only get one resource every 2 minutes.
Right. They're just completely getting rid of that system and making it so you can go and buy the bounties from Ada for Glimmer. If you complete the bounty, you get the resource to go transmog one of your
Right.
pieces. Now, granted, there's only going to be 20 pieces you can use, or 10, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You only get so many pieces a season, but at least it's something you can actually grind out. You can get on at the beginning of the season, grind out all of your bounties on your characters, unlock your new transmog, and then move on with your life. You don't have to feel like you have to go to a thrall way and just kill a bunch of thrall or altars of sorrow or whatever you do just to waste time so that you can get your resources so that you can do your damn bounties. I'm glad they're stepping back
Yeah.
some of the transmog stuff.
It's still not enough, honestly.
That's how it feels to me. They messed up that system
Mhm.
so bad, but it just popped into my mind when I was thinking about. I think overall this system, this new cross save system is going to be good for the game. I also think the transmog system is going to be good for the game long term.
Right.
But we need to keep putting pressure.
Because they need to stop putting this stuff out in broken states.
Well, one is broken due to technical difficulties. One is broken due to Bungie's greed. So it really is 2 completely separate things.
Well, I mean, if Crossplay is going to take them, a full season to get worked out, it should have came out in season 16 instead of 15. But they want to put out the broken system.
Yeah, I think they feel the pressure from the community, though. And I think they also see what's happening to Trials, and they're realizing they need to inject some life into the PvP side of this game.
Yeah.
But
We've talked about how you can inject some life into the PvP side of this game. And they have some competition coming out for PvP shooters
They do.
soon. Look out for a video on that.
Look out for a couple videos on that.
Yeah.
Halo, for those for those who couldn't get past our coy remarks, which we hopefully will be doing some gameplay footage of. So
Mhm.
we will see how we feel about all that. Um, so why don't we take this moment to segue into the end of Season of the Splicers, the end of Solstice of Heroes, because by the time this comes out, those things,
Right.
Solstice will be over.
Mhm.
Season of the Splicer has about 3 weeks left.
I think it's 2. Oh no,
2 or
you're
3.
right. It's 3. It's 3.
Yeah, I think it's 3. Last time I looked, it was 20 something days,
Mhm.
and that was only like 2 days ago. So, what is your overall impression now that we've gotten Season of the Splicer minus the epilogue? We are aware
Right.
there's going to be one more short little scene.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts?
I started off absolutely loving Season of Splicer. Right. It has some of the best story writing that Bungie has ever put out in a seasonal update. The gameplay loop and just general content of the season left me bored, and I went and played other games. I might have been burned out, to be fair, especially after going from Chosen straight into Splicer. But uh, I feel like the overrides themselves were a big reason. They were just not all that entertaining after the first time you clear one.
Yeah, I definitely got that feeling as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think I disliked it as much as you did, but you're right. You didn't get a break between Chosen. Basically, you skipped the first half of Season of the Chosen,
Mm-hmm.
came in on the back half of the season, played the entire first part of Season of Splicer,
Right.
and by the end of that, you were feeling kind of burnt out with the game,
Mm-hmm.
which I imagine is completely normal. Just
Right.
to be playing this game that long in a row. I don't think that's how the game's designed to
Mm-hmm.
be absorbed.
I also think Vogue might have had a reason to do with me feeling a little bit just not interested in what was going on, was because I mean it's Vogue. It was interesting the like day one watching you guys do the race and everything, but like the weekly clears of it, Snoozeville every week.
Yeah, we have
It's
to make our own fun.
yeah,
It's
and then we get mad at each other when we make our own fun.
um the way I look at it is I think the season was good. I think they should have done something in between Season of the Chosen and Season of the Splicer, just because it feels like, oh, we're allying with the Cabal. Here's a friendly Cabal.
Mhm.
Let's earn this Cabal's trust. To, oh, we're allying with the Elixni. Here's a friendly Elixni. Like, those story beats felt too similar one
Right.
season right after another.
So
That being said, it's something that I've wanted to see happen in the story for a
yeah,
long time, because they are the sentient species that we've been fighting.
and like I said,
They
it's
aren't
it's so well written, and the characters are so
right.
engaging. So when you're actually doing the story part, like I was hooked all the way through it.
Right. This is just from like a meta level, like all the way,
Mm-hmm.
like taking a step back and looking at it. I can see if people have complaints about, well, the story's the same thing they did last season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those chess pieces needed to be set up for the bigger story they're getting ready to tell. And we'll get into our theories about the next season, and right after we go over what I was going to say, which is I agree with you 100%. Overrides are fun to do like once or twice. Expunge missions I wish were more fun.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
especially the corrupted expunge. That's a big letdown. It's the exact same thing, but now there's taken sometimes.
Yeah, there's taken paint on it. With taken enemies, so that does change a couple things. I didn't dislike any of it, but we noticed the first week, overrides are just Purple Gambit,
Right.
a PvE version of Purple Gambit. So it feels like I'm playing Gambit whenever I'm playing, just I'm playing Gambit with 6 people, so we're all fighting for the same kills. When I go
So
into Expunge, there isn't a matchmaking system for it, so I'm running them by myself. I feel like I don't understand why Expunge didn't have matchmaking like the Battlegrounds did last season.
Yeah, that is weird.
Like, I feel like those would be much more fun with 3 people.
So, I was thinking about this. I think the main problem people have and why they feel like the weekly loops of Destiny feel very stale is because they don't have enough like events that go on, right? Like for instance, Iron Banner starting up this Tuesday. You get an Iron Banner every now and then. We got season, not season of the chosen, fancy glowy armor event going on.
Solstice of Heroes.
Solstice of Heroes. we got that going on. But it's like when you do your weekly loop, like you start in on Tuesday, you go and talk to Mithrax, you go and do an expunge, you go talk to Mithrax again, then you go and do your weeklies, like your Crucible matches, your Gambit, your same 5 strikes that are always in the game, and you're doing the same thing every week with no variation. If they had a little bit more interesting, like occasional things, like that's why I wish Sparrow Racing came back in, like every now and then. Just
right.
give us
it
like
feels like they need breaks.
Right. Give us a break from your gameplay loop to go and do any extra activity within your season. That's what people want. Even the ones
But
that you
they have
have.
been doing that. They have been doing that with the seasonal events. I think the issue is that the seasonal events are also getting stale.
Right, and they're very few.
It's always the same 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's Guardian Games, Solstice. There'll be Festival of the Lost next season. Season after that will be the Dawning. Season after that it will be.
And they also feel so similar,
done, right?
They also feel so similar. I mean, the difference between Guardian Games and Solstice of Heroes is that I'm grinding up armor in Solstice of Heroes, but I'm still collecting things from things I kill with my abilities.
Yeah. I mean, they're all slightly different, but
right.
not different enough that you actually really notice.
A long time ago, we were promised things like being able to use our actual ships in like space combat. Bungie talked about that during one of their things as like a thing they were planning to do for Destiny but never got around to. Make that an event. Just make that as content that you bring in every now and then as an event for us to go and do. That we can go and do like dogfights or something. That'd be so cool. But it's something different from...
I'd say Dylan edit that part out, but I'm going to say Coda edit that part out.
What part?
Dogfights?
That's what it's called when planes shoot at each other.
I thought you were talking about actual dogs. You were talking about like when you... Okay.
I'm leaving that all in. No, I'm leaving that all in.
I was like, Coda, you cannot say that. Oh.
But, you could give us an event like that every now and then. You could give us, I don't know, let me play poker with Amanda Holiday and get Glimmer as a reward. Just do something outside of sending me into Gambit, sending me into Crucible, sending me into Strikes.
I do think they need to do that. I honestly do.
Mm-hmm.
I worry about the Warframe problem where they just go so far out. They do so many little side things that they lose touch with what their game is.
I'm just saying like a mid-season break of something like that,
Right. I just think the issue is that the mid-season breaks have gotten old.
Mm-hmm. What if...
Because we've been doing the same ones for 3 years now.
Like, what if the expunge missions were actually just a hacker minigame?
That would be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious.
Got some near flashbacks.
You could make like a leaderboard for it, and like you can do it like perfect or something. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something like that. Something just where you can add like a new fun little side game mode over here. I think that would be a lot of fun. I worry about how it would affect their actual seasonal content loop, though, because I wouldn't want a side project like that to be the seasonal content loop.
Right. That's why. I mean, it's an event, is what I'm talking about, not part of the seasonal content loop.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a little bit back on topic now, just to wrap up with saying, why is the expunge where we kill Korea not a strike? It's
Right?
such a cool boss like design, new boss encounter like mechanics.
Like, you say
It has.
strike, I say it should be in a dungeon.
It should be. I hope it is.
Hmm.
I hope they crank the difficulty up on it. I don't think they're going to, because
No.
there's nowhere to put like mini bosses in. But it could be a good strike.
Yeah, I mean, you could put in mini bosses. You could put in like a Taken boss that Korea controls, and it doesn't have to have much context to it. It's just a Taken
Right, but
boss.
look at the mechanics of the other dungeons. The mechanics
Right.
are a little bit more involved in there in that expunge.
Right,
They
but that's just
are.
because the mechanics in an expunge by default are not all that involved.
Yeah. Um. So what else? Anything else you want to say about Season of the Splicer? I like. I'll leave it with saying liked it,
Mhm.
but got a little bored with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I am looking forward to how the story goes with the next season, but I might take it slow and not rush out every week's story as soon as it drops. Just so I had a lot of fun with Season of the Chosen because I played it in that last week and a half. I played it all at once. And that felt so much
Right.
better, just getting all the story and not having to do the menial in between. So that's probably
Yeah.
what I'll do
And I
next
think
season.
that's why they. I think that's why they've designed. They've designed the story to be told the way it is, so the people who are like me who want to get the weekly updates every week can kind of feel like we're making progress towards the story. But if you feel like you need to take a step away from the game, and by the way, even if you wanted to take an entire season break, actually, I'm going to be giving out false information here. I was going to say you could come back the next season to get the story, but because next season
It's
is
the
the final
last
season
season.
of the year, that might not be the
Right.
case. So I don't want to tell you guys something that's wrong.
No, but right now is a great time to hop in. If you've
Yeah.
taken some time off, you get to do Season of the Hunt, Season of the Chosen, and Season of the Splicer just all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, these next 2 to 3 months, if you've taken a break, I just recommend coming back, playing through the story, getting the ignition code, and then if you want to put it down, then put it down until Witch Queen comes out. But that way you kind of know what's all happened over the last season.
Mhm.
But hey, I mean, I get it. Anytime you need to step away from a game, step away from it. I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
So, next season, brief talk about what you're thinking is going to happen.
Okay. Can I go big?
Spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's-
potential
okay, so
spoilers. Potential. Because we might
potential
guess right.
spoilers because this might be a leak.
Yeah.
So, if this is the point at which you want to tap out, just to avoid the possibility of us having seen these leaked spoilers, then I will say thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.
Mhm.
For those who are planning on staying around, there has been a leak that's been going around the Destiny lore subreddit, raid secrets. I don't know where it's at. I don't know.
It's
know
popped
where
up.
I saw
It's popped
this.
up all over the place. Reddit, 4chan, all these places. Which
But
kind of makes it seem kind of valid that there are multiple people saying, "Oh, this is what's coming."
right, and this could be completely off base. This is pure speculation at this point.
Mhm.
Nothing here is confirmed. The Dreaming City.
Yeah. Which makes perfect
So-
sense. We kill Korea, and Korea was one of the key things that was keeping the Dreaming City in its infinite loop.
Right, exactly. Also, Crow,
Mhm.
Aldrin Sov has been a huge part of the seasonal story so far.
Right.
I mean, this is the only season he hasn't been a main pivotal character in, and even then he got a lot of mentions throughout the lore books.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
it's
about
not
to
like
say
he's
he's
just
doing
been
a
sitting
lot.
out.
Yeah, he's doing a lot in the background.
I think they just wanted to take a season away from him, probably because this entire season is going to be about re-enlisting the Awoken Army.
Mhm.
now that Savathun is, from all accounts, she's already in the system,
Mm-hmm.
but the threat is going to get dialed up when Witch Queen comes.
Right.
Whether that's Xivu Arath or that's her horde, or who cares what's in Witch Queen right now. We'll save those speculations for next season. Let's speculate wildly about what is going to happen with Marisov. How do you think she's going to react?
So I think she's gonna be super pissed with us for Aldrin being alive. Although in the lore, she does know Aldrin is alive as Crow.
You've seen that?
I believe it's mentioned in one of the grimoires or something that she was informed that, but she doesn't consider that Aldrin because I mean it's
Well,
not, it's
to
Crow.
be fair, the Vanguard also doesn't consider that to be Eldrin.
Right. But
It's funny. It's funny because I actually just replayed the mission where we first contact Marisov in Forsaken,
mhm.
because it was just sitting in my quest tabs and I was just clearing out my quest tabs by completing the quests that I had left over.
Uh-huh.
And she knew about the fact that Aldrin had died before we told her.
Yeah,
And
because
she wasn't really that upset about it.
she has her little spies and whatnot. So
Well, right. Also, she's like an omniscient,
right.
omnipotent god. I think that helps.
I think she's gonna
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. She wasn't pissed that he died,
be no.
but I think she's gonna be real upset that he came back,
Uh-huh.
because the Awoken have done experiments on Guardians, because they've had members of the Awoken who died and then ghosts found them. And I'm not talking about the Earthborn Awoken. I'm talking about the Reefborn Awoken that were still loyal to Morosov.
Right.
They've died. Ghosts have found them. They've come back and they basically interrogated these. Oh, what are they called? They're not called crows. They're not Tekkens.
Are you talking about
Corsairs.
Okay.
Corsairs. They found this Corsair and they basically interrogated her to figure out whether or not she was still the same person. And they came to the conclusion this is a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Mara is going to be very upset that we have the corpse of her brother.
Right. So I mean, you really have to go into the lore to understand Awoken society, but it's very interesting to dive into. There's great videos and whatnot also on the YouTube of it. The Awoken are very, very connected with each other in a lot of ways. Like, they feel for each other in kind of an empathetic way. And so deaths of Awoken are actually extremely, like, saddening to them. Aldrin Sov is Queen Mara's brother. He was her brother before she became Queen Mara, like before they became Awoken.
Yes, this isn't just like some made up connection,
Right.
that like, oh, we were the first two Awoken, you are my sister and I am your brother. This is like, no, before they became Awoken, they were both brother sister. They were
Right.
family.
And then you got to understand how he died. Because he died by being manipulated by her Armkara, and also by wanting to bring her back to life.
Right.
He was doing that for her. So that's why I feel like she wasn't extremely sad that he died, because like she understood everything that happened, and she kind of more felt guilty as a result, as opposed to sad and angry
Right.
over it. And now we're parading around her brother's corpse.
Right. And okay, here's the thing. Marisov has been an ally to the city, but I do not trust Marisov.
No.
I do not trust somebody who continually manipulates her brother's affection for her to get him to do more dangerous and more dangerous stuff. Because essentially that's what she was doing. She knew how much Aldrin wanted to prove to her that he was worthy.
Right.
So she played on that, as she plays on everybody, as a queen does, to try to
Marisov
consolidate her
is
power.
as much an ally and as trustable as, I want to say almost like somebody like the Spider, but really somebody like Rasputin. Like,
I was gonna say like Keitel.
yeah, Keitel too, but I think Rasputin, because Rasputin will do anything for the safety of humanity, and that's it. That's where the screw the tower, screw Guardians. Those aren't human anymore. Humanity, the existence on Earth, is all that matters. Same thing kind of for Mara. That's why she led the Awoken out of the alternate reality they were in into the reef. It was because she wanted to go back and make sure that everything was right on Earth.
Right, but the difference here is that there are Awoken who split off from Mara, and I wonder if she has a feeling of obligation to them as well. I mean, if you think about it, Mara came back. Now, granted, this is from the Mara Senna, which is a history of the Awoken people from Mara's point of
Right.
view, and from it's basically like
As written by Mara.
right. If the U.S. government put out a history of the U.S. government,
Which they have.
right, which they have, it might not be. It's going to paint things in a positive light. But what my point is that Mara's entire motivation for returning back to our universe, our dimension, from the little pocket dimension that she spent a billion years in creating,
Uh-huh.
was to come back and save humanity. Now, granted, when she came back, it was in the Dark Age, and humanity had already fallen apart. And she chose to sit and consolidate her powers and try to strengthen her position. But the baseline motivation there was always to protect humanity.
Right.
I think that's still there. I don't know. Mara's a very interesting character, and I'm really hoping that the leaks are true, because the Dreaming City is one of the best locations we have, and besides when we went there for a Wrathborn hunt and a half, we really haven't been back to the Dreaming City.
And I think Mara's one of the most interesting lore-wise characters that we see all the time. Like, we've seen her pop up constantly. She's like the Exo Stranger. Like, she pops up, we don't really learn anything about her, we move on. But
right.
we got to learn more about the Exo Stranger, so I want to learn more about Mara.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a brief discussion. So let's get final thoughts on what we're hopeful for the next season.
That's literally where I was going with
Oh.
that. That's what I was saying. I'm excited for it. If it's not that, I will be able to move beyond it. I'm not that worried. I just feel like thematically it fits.
Yeah.
With setting up all of the major players that could oppose the Hive, Taken, Vex conglomerate that Savathun now controls.
Yeah.
I think they've kind of set up the Elixni, the Cabal, and now if we can get the Awoken and their army broken away from the Dreaming City and its curse finally, then I think that sets up the stage really nicely for the next year moving forward. So, any other last thoughts?
I think Mara's gonna die.
Maybe.
Just because
Also looking.
we need some stakes going into Witcher Queen. So something big has to happen before. That's kind of how the expansion passes go. If something big happens, expansion comes out. You know, we had the Traveler wake up. We went to Beyond Light. So we need this season. That season's gonna end on a cliffhanger, and look forward to it.
Yeah. I'm also interested to see what happens to Petra, because she hasn't been that big of a part of the story since Forsaken either. So I don't know. We'll see. So thank you all for joining us for another Tower Talk, episode 6. I'm Shank. This is Coda. Stay tuned to Absolutely PlayStation and Steam Gamers for all your latest gaming news, reviews, and discussions.